It is my enormous pleasure to introduce Morgan Hopkins, our student orator who will speak on behalf of the class of 2022. Our student orators have been invited to speak in recognition of their hard work on behalf of the student community and commitment to their studies. Our speakers have both pursued the most enriching experience they could during their time at York, as well as giving back to their community. On behalf of the class of 2022, I give you Morgan Hopkins.
Ladies and gentlemen, graduates of 2022, honoured guests, it's my great privilege to welcome and address you at this graduation ceremony. I'm sure we're all relieved to have finally reached this milestone in our academic lives. I don't know about the rest of you, but I certainly wondered on a few occasions whether I'd even be able to make it to this point and finish my degree, especially with some of the challenges we've faced over the past 2 years. But we have, and here we are. So firstly, I'd like to say a massive congratulations to everybody graduating today. We've all achieved something that we can and should be immensely proud of. My name is Morgan, and I'm one of the graduating students of the Department of Health Sciences Masters of Nursing programme. I started my degree 4 years ago after finishing my A-levels, and like many of you, I'm sure, I found moving up to university and starting higher education a challenge in itself. Not only did I have to move over 200 miles away from my home, away from friends, my family, and adjust to living an adult life, I also had to meet the academic expectations of my course. Now, despite the demands of an undergraduate nursing course, I did eventually manage to settle into university life. I formed new friendships, I managed to keep up with my studies even whilst out on placement. I engaged in extracurricular activities, and I really started to feel like I was part of this university. Now, whether your experience was similar or completely different to mine, I'm sure we can all agree that it was about 2 years ago when we got thrown into a time of great uncertainty. COVID was a quickly developing global issue that perhaps we didn't fully appreciate the severity of until it was far too late. In regards to its impact on our education, I don't think anybody here would have guessed that we'd spend so long completing distance learning. As a graduating class, we've had our fair share of challenges at university, some challenges that all graduates have had to face, but on top of those, we also had to adapt to this new way of learning. We had to live, work and study through multiple national and regional lockdowns. We had to isolate from friends and family. We had to schedule testing into our lives to check those that we cared about. The struggles we faced might have been accentuated by the fact that we had to isolate from our usual support networks, who were unavailable to us in a time when we needed them the most. But despite all of that, we pushed through. We persevered and we developed our resilience. We kept putting one foot in front of the other, taking it a day at a time, just submitting each assignment as their deadline reached us. To the student nurses that stepped in and opted in when given the choice, we did more than anyone had expected of us. We adapted to the new roles offered to us when the pandemic was at its worst, and we took these new roles and new responsibilities, and we did so even though we knew it was going to be tough, physically and emotionally. Many people talk about the burnout of healthcare workers, and I think it's safe to say, from what we've worked through alongside our academic studies, we probably will have graduated a bit more exhausted than most previous cohorts. So I hope you're all still managing to take some time for yourself, despite the demands of your new jobs as RNs. But something everyone in this room can take away of their experience of the pandemic is that resilience that they developed. Going forward, moving on from university, for whatever comes next for you, whether it be out in the working world, back to education as a postgraduate, or even just taking some time for yourself, make sure you take that resilience with you. Rely on it, develop it further. Know that you've already been through some pretty tough times in the past 2 years and you still came out on top. Take it and let it feed your determination to push through whatever challenges arise, no matter how big they are. Now, I'd like to personally thank my fellow M-nurses over the past 4 years for being there to talk to about any issues I've had, whether it be about academic, placement or personal issues. And I think I speak for everyone in this room when I say thank you to all our friends and family who have been there and supported us throughout our degrees, and our various lecturers and teams in our specific departments who've helped to get to where we are now. Thank you, and thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a great day.